Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and to another Speedbuild video. For those who don't know me, my name's Sophie. I do a Speedbuild video every Saturday, and then I have just recently started a not so berry challenge, which basically I post on a Wednesday. Not every week though, it will be like 3 weeks of the month or so, I think. So today I am building this massive manor house. When I started building it, I didn't really have anything in mind for what I wanted to do. I just kind of knew that I wanted something with like really nice bay windows at the front. And that, yeah, I just kind of like started to build it. I didn't really have anything in mind. Normally when I'm building, I kind of like take inspiration, if you could call it that, from like either pictures that I've seen on the internet or on Pinterest mostly. But this time I just decided to build. What I knew I wanted to do something which was a little bit old-fashioned, but like with a modern interior or like semi-modern inside. It's kind of like potentially like a family have bought this house and they're like in the middle of doing it up, but they've also like kept some of the period features. So like half of the, well, majority of the inside is like fairly modern, but still there's like some more old-fashioned aspects of it as well. Yeah, this kind of has, it's like fairly big. It's got, let me think, it's got like 3.5 bedrooms. I suppose you could call it 4, but I kind of did one as a study. So technically you could call it 4 bedrooms, but this isn't actually decorated to be 4 bedrooms. It's kind of got it's got like a massive kitchen slash dining room, which the colours that I've decorated is just my all-time favourite colour. If I had a bigger kitchen space, and the color that I chose, I would have that all over, and like my kitchen cabinets would be that color and whatnot. And it's also got like a more of a formal living room, I should say, and a more of like a kids play out room where it's kind of got like some toys and like a little sit down area, so it's a bit more chilled out. But basically, like one of the main aspects I wanted to do with this build is like play around with the roof. Some people, like some of the videos that I watch, people have such strong roofs in their build, and I kind of feel like with some of mine, I kind of just like slap the roof on and it's kind of, I don't know, like just all over the place and it doesn't really like connect up. So with this one, I tried my hardest to get the roof like natural, I suppose you could say. I wanted it to look like a proper house, basically. So this is kind of what we came up with in the end. And the wallpaper that I'm using at the moment, I do end up changing that. Because like I didn't really know what I wanted with the outside when I was first doing it. I was a bit like, oh, just put anything on. I knew I wanted like a darker stone sort of look, but I didn't really. But like what I do at first, I feel like it doesn't really like work, and it's a bit too harsh, I suppose. So I do end up changing it a bit later on for a darker stone. For like a more, I suppose in a way I had in mind like a Cornish Manor House. I went to uni in Cornwall, and Cornwall's like one of those places for people outside of the UK. Cornwall is probably like one of the nicest places in the UK. Like some people, if like they don't go abroad for holidays, then Cornwall is the next best thing. And it's basically like you have like really nice lush beaches, and like, I don't know, because the climate is like a little bit more higher than the rest of the UK. There's like palm trees everywhere, which just don't grow anywhere else. Um, and yeah, so basically, I kind of was probably thinking back to my university days of being in Cornwall, and I just felt really inspired, I suppose, to do something like that. There's also like I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's a TV series called Poldark, and I love watching it because it just reminisce. I kind of wish I lived in that sort of era so I can just go around and, I don't know, ride on a horse to places. I don't like horses, but whatever, that will be my dream. Um, so yeah, so basically I'm going off on a tangent again. Um, that's what inspired this build in a way. Um, so yeah, I did spend like quite a lot of time on like the landscaping of this. I did want it to be beautiful, and I think I heard somewhere, I don't know, like, so basically when it comes to like naming these builds, I kind of like, I'm at the point where I've done like a modern family home, and if I keep on posting builds which are just called modern family homes, then I think it would get pretty boring after a while because it would just be the same sort of build. So I I think I saw a thing somewhere when it comes to like naming builds is you put like plants outside it, and then you call it what that plant is. So that's where this sort of name came from, like Rosebud Manor. Um, Number one, because obviously my channel name is Sophie Rose. I thought, well, let's just put a load of rose bushes outside, and it would kind of be like a sort of tribute to my channel, and also like a good way of like naming this build. Um, so that's where like the sort of aspect comes from. Um, so yeah, I do end up spending a lot of time on the landscaping. We put a load of rose bushes outside, and also, I don't know, I think it looks really pretty. I do end up moving it back a little bit because I kind of wanted like a nice little pathway coming up to it. So that happens, and then yeah, like the landscaping just takes forever. I do like a really cute garden, which unfortunately I do end up cutting the majority of it out because basically we end up, it just takes too long in the end, and because I put like quite a lot of shrubs outside, I was just like, well, we don't really need to see this. So like the way like I make my videos, I kind of speed it up. I then do voiceovers, and then I edit it just in case I need to like edit anything out of my voiceover. But unedited, this video came up to like 50 minutes, so I was like, well, this is going to be way too long for someone to actually listen to. So I'm really hoping that once I like finish like the proper edit on this build, it comes out at around, I think, half an hour, which is still like fairly long for a speed build, but it took forever and I didn't really want to cut like the whole video out. So this is kind of like what we're left with. We've got like a fairly long build. So at the moment I'm just changing the wallpaper on the outside, and we go for that like nice stone sort of wallpaper. Like that sort of stone is a lot more like Cornish, you could call it, I suppose. And I think because like the entrance bit is like a light paneling, I think it all just once it's been changed, it does all work and it ties in very nicely together. And then obviously it's just a case of like changing some of the windows so that it matches a bit nicer. So yeah, in terms of like what I actually do for the landscaping, I kind of left it like for the garden, for example, I left it a lot more modern. I don't know how to explain it. I kind of left it, I didn't do too much to it. I think sometimes I just get like a little bit carried away with putting like massive swimming pools in and just thinking that will do. But it's kind of like in reality, like in the UK and like in, if like this is a Cornish cottage, then not a lot of people actually have swimming pools. And in terms of like value to your estate or to your house, it doesn't really add any value at all. So I kind of like I kind of wanted it to be like a bit of like a, like we've got like a nice patio in the back, and we also have like some nice like areas where it's all covered with greenery and it's all very lush and healthy. Um, but as you can see at the front anyway, we've just kind of like skipped ahead. We've got all the rosebuds in place, and we also have like a nice bit of ivory going up the house because I kind of felt like that would be like quite suited to this sort of build. Um, so the I just kind of like skipping on to the entrance room at the moment. We're just kind of like quickly getting a floor plan in place. Um, but basically, I wanted like a two-story like open area. So we kind of needed like extra long walls in order to like pull it off properly. I always find though like trying to do like two like open up a bit in the build is just really difficult, because you kind of like get rid of your floor and then all your roofs kind of like pop open. It's really massive pain, but I did end up getting there in the end. But yeah, so in terms of the floor plan, that was like the most biggest struggle. It's just kind of like getting that to work. But in the end, we do end up having like a nice big open hallway as well at the top, and it's quite nice because there's like an area that you can walk all the way around. But yeah, oh. So basically, in terms of like the interiors of this, I kind of like go for my usual style. So my plan is that this is going to be probably one of the last builds that, well, I say the last build, but basically my plan is for my next build to be with the jungle pack. I kind of feel like the items that I have in my game at the moment, I am kind of getting a little bit bored with the items, and I kind of felt like, especially felt with this one at least, that it is actually missing a lot. And I kind of feel like if I finally buy the jungle pack, then I'll have lots of new items. I know it comes with like some really pretty wallpaper with like nice tiles on it. So hopefully the next build that I do will be a bit more unique, and it's not just going to be like the same sort of interiors that I do all over the place. But yeah, so not that I'm saying like the interiors for this house is not any good. I kind of have noticed that I'm getting like a little bit bored with what I'm doing. But yeah, so that was kind of for the inside. That was the floor plan altogether, and then I just kind of go back to do the landscaping. I do get bored with landscaping, so sometimes I do like just slap a load of plants around and not really think about what I'm doing. But with this one, I kind of like really thought about like the aesthetics of what I wanted to achieve. The house has like a nice walled garden as well, so everything's like nicely enclosed. And I don't know, this is at the moment being built in Newcrest just because it was like a free lot, and I do the majority of my buildings in Newcrest. But I don't know, I kind of feel like this sort of house would be more suited for Windenburg. It's definitely like a lot older on the, like more like a, I wouldn't necessarily call it Tudor like a lot of the houses in Windenburg are, but it definitely has that sort of aesthetic. So, as I may have said earlier, we do end up cutting a lot of the video out for this. And that's not really like, I don't normally tend to like doing that. I kind of like to show builds in like a complete whole. So, letting you guys basically sit through like the whole furnishing and the whole building and all the little bits that I have to do in order to like make a build look pretty. Um, but this video just kind of just came out just way too long, so unfortunately we do end up cutting a lot of the landscaping out and some of the furnishing as well. However, I did kind of keep in the best bits. Like, I love that little archway. I've never really like used items like that before, and I think it's quite effective, to be honest. It's quite nice to kind of have like areas of the garden that are like sheltered, and I know like we did have like quite a nice couple of items that came with the romantic garden stuff pack, which is one of the stuff packs that I actually own. But that kind of stuff that's like kind of like more romantic, as it's suggested in the name. So we end up going for some of like the more modern bits, which came, I think, with the Get Together expansion pack. So yeah, you'll kind of see though in the screenshots what I do with the garden. So like if there is ever a time where, you know, I do have to like take out bits of the build, it does all get shown in the screenshots anyway. So if you stick around to the end, then you'll see those. So this kitchen was kind of inspired by one like the room build that I did, like one probably I think it's probably one of like the first builds that I did, or one of the first room builds that I did on my channel, and it was kind of like a country-esque inspired, I don't know how to explain it, but a country kitchen. And I've kind of like followed that for what I've done here. So for that, we end up having like a double cooker, and one of the things that I did with that country kitchen is a lot of it was copper, but I don't know, I'm kind of over copper now. Copper was like a craze that came through. I don't know if it came through anywhere else, but people were buying like marble and copper bits for either like their bedroom or their kitchens, and I'm not gonna lie, that is something that I did, but I've got over it a little bit. So with this, we just keep it nice and clean. We've just got black and white appliances, but we do have everything that we should need. So like a nice coffee machine, double cooker, double fridge. I kind of like imagine the Sims that live here would be like a very wealthy like family. So, you know, obviously the fridge is packed with like food, cupboards are packed with sweets and anything that they may need. So yeah, but I don't know. This is like probably like with a lot of this house, like I didn't really know what sort of colours I wanted to go for. So this is like probably one of the first times I've like kind of like furnished it without having wallpapers up. But I think, like as I said earlier, I go for this like really nice dark blue, and I think it just all gets tied in very nicely together. The cats and dogs bits all match very well with it, and they match well with like bits from Get Together, and it's just all really, really nice. So this is kind of like a kitchen slash dining room, and I must admit actually this whole house has kind of inspired one of Deli Grissy's builds that she did for her I can't remember the actual name, but Hampton something. So we have like throughout the house we have lots of darker woods, and the the new window that came with what's it called, laundry, that was inspired majorly by Deli Grissy, because she had one of those in her build as well, and I think it just looked it's quite nice to like extend the room as a sort of windowsill, I suppose. Um, and yeah, it's quite nice to just add like loads of greenery onto it as well. Like one of like with many of my builds anyway, like the main focus of like this build is I like to put like lots of greenery in. I think it completely ties together a room, and it just adds those like little, I don't know, I kind of feel like everyone should have like lots of plants in their houses. I think it, like especially for the Sims, it just makes the rooms look lived in. So but yeah, so this is kind of like what we went for in the end. Um, and yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this kitchen. I would love to have a kitchen this big one day. I think it's so dreamy. We kind of just tie it all together with like nice little plants and whatnot. But yeah, um, so I think it was last Wednesday my new Let's Play was released. Obviously, I'm recording this voiceover before it's actually released, so I'm kind of like having to talk about it now as if, you know, you've all watched it and you've all enjoyed it and it's hopefully done well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like nervous, I suppose, when it comes to like doing Let's Plays, because for like nearly a whole year now I've just been doing builds on my channel, so I kind of hope that doing a Let's Play um, would potentially like hopefully more people would enjoy the content, because I know some people don't like watching builds, so hopefully like by doing a Let's Play like I'd get more of an audience. um, but even though I've like only just started doing that Let's Play, I'm also thinking of maybe starting like a shorter Let's Play as well, because like the Not So Berry can like last for episodes upon episodes and episodes and episodes and episodes. um, so I am thinking of potentially just doing a shorter video and tying that in maybe with a giveaway. I'm not sure yet when that's going to happen, but hopefully it will happen in the future. Um, I don't know, but let me know down below what you think of me potentially doing a giveaway. I kind of thought that I kind of feel like sometimes with giveaways, people kind of just subscribe to your channels just for the giveaway and then they like unsubscribe. But if you guys are like actually genuinely interested in that sort of thing, then let me know, and um, I can like try and arrange that to happen at some point. Um, I think though if I was to do a giveaway, then it would have to be like for a Let's Play, it would be like a lot more structured. So I don't know, it might take me some time to like actually plan it out. Um, but so yeah, back to the build. Um, so I think with that first living room that we've just seen, um, it's again like this whole build, I'm just like completely unsure of like what I want to do with it. And I think that's because like towards the beginning, like I didn't really have like an idea like totally set in mind. So I think for like any other builds that I do, I need to like be more focused, because like I go back and forth between each rooms, like not really sure what I want. So like the front living room, I was like, oh, I really want to put like a fireplace in there, but I think unfortunately in the end there just isn't room for it. So it's kind of like what I end up doing with it is not exactly what I want from it. But I think in terms of like, it's still like a formal living room. And like throughout this whole build, I'm just like, I'm not sure whether I want to go like super modern or super, I don't know, like not super, but I don't like just, I don't have a clear picture of what I want. I kind of like had an idea of like what room, like what each room would be. So like for example, this one is like more of a like play area. It's got more of the kids stuff, but then it's also got like the fireplace in it, which, you know, I think it still works, but it's kind of like, I suppose, like a health hazard in a way. But then I I suppose like the mum and dad of this family could like potentially be like sitting by the fire reading a newspaper and like the kids playing behind. But yeah, like also this, I can't like the way that I've done the floor plan. This kind of has like really like awkward spaces. So the space in the middle, I've kind of like, oh, I'll just put like a fireplace in there, not fireplace, like a piano, because obviously if you're a rich family, then you'd probably get your kids to learn the piano from a young age. But um, it's kind of like a wasted space. I don't like saying that about my build, but I generally feel like it is a bit of a wasted space. Um, I think what I do with it in the end, it works, but I'm not like over the moon with it. Um, but yeah, so we kind of like end up putting like another little sitting area with like some other little bits, and like I think in the end it does work out like fairly nicely, but yeah, I'm not like 100% over the moon with it. But yeah, and then obviously off the back of that room, I kind of have like another little entrance room um, to the garden, which I was kind of thinking like of. I think this, even though I'm not decorated for it, but I think this would work well for like cats and dogs, for any pets that you might want to put in the house. And I kind of imagine that back room would be like where you'd come in after like a muddy walk, and like maybe you could like furnish it with like a sink so you can wash the dog or whatever in the sink, even though that doesn't work. Um, and that, yeah, you take your like your wellies off and whatnot, and because I think there is like an entrance to the um, back garden. Um, so yeah, we kind of like I kind of skipped over the actual hallway, but to be honest, like there's not really much that I do in there. Um, but we kind of just have like a nice little table thingy again, and it's all kind of grand. And that comes to like the open story, like the two-story like living like hallway. Um, but yeah, so that is actually like the majority of the downstairs done. Um, we do kind of like skip ahead a little bit in a second, and we go on to, well, like we skip out all the bathrooms and we just go on to the bedrooms, but obviously I'll try and squeeze that into the screenshots at the end. I kind of like this landing because it's kind of like you've got like nice bookshelf and like nice seating area, which you don't I don't normally get. Like I feel like I finally learned how to furnish landings, and it's basically the secret is that you just put chairs and bookshelves basically, and then if you have the space, like maybe a desk as well. But yeah, so we're just going on now to doing the bedrooms quickly. So two of the bedrooms have an ensuite. When I do my bedrooms, I always like to try and squeeze in like a bathroom in them, because I don't like the idea of everyone just using like the main bathroom, and I think that's the same with like any houses. Even though not everyone's lucky to have like an ensuite off their bedrooms, but whenever I can and whenever there's room, I always like to try and squeeze them in. Um, but the room that I had in mind for like a master bedroom ends up being quite small in the end. Um, and like in hindsight, the room that I decorate for the twins would have been much better, but then again, I would have had to again squeezed in an ensuite in that. Um, but I don't know. I think this is quite cozy. It just has all the like essentials that I normally put in a bedroom. And then obviously as well, you can see in the corner there that we've actually got the bathroom as well, and it kind of just all matches. I've decorated this with like a pinky theme, um, although it's not really that pink. There's just like a few items that are pink. But yeah, I don't know. I'm quite liking doing pink bedrooms at the moment. Um, it would be like something, if my boyfriend allowed me, then I would put like pink in my bedroom as well. But I don't think there's a chance in hell that he would let me do our bedroom pink. It's not like boyish enough for him. So that was the master bedroom. Next door to that is the like the teenage room. And I think I decorate it quite sophisticated. Um, Obviously we put, like, the good thing about the Parenthood pack is that you have like lots of nice wall decorations, um, but we just end up needing to like move the door around for that bathroom so we can fit in a wardrobe. And I don't normally use those big wardrobes, but I kind of feel like for a teenager it works quite nicely. Um, but yeah. And then we just kind of like put in all like the little bits that you would normally put into like the teenage room. So like all the clutter and all the bits like that, and it works out fairly nicely. And obviously teenage rooms obviously have to have fairy lights. So I hope you guys don't actually mind these longer videos. So even though I've like cut loads of the footage out, this still comes out at over half an hour. However, I do kind of feel like if I was to ever put like longer videos on my channel, then I would always try and perhaps do like a shorter video for my next one. It's kind of difficult when you're like wanting to build these big houses, but like obviously you end up filming like hours and hours of footage and trying to like get it down to like a good amount of time, but also like I don't want to speed it up too much as well, because then like potentially you might not be able to follow it just because it goes too fast. So I will always have that at the back of my mind. Let me know down below though, like what you guys think and whether you like don't like watching longer videos. I can always just do smaller builds, whatever you want. So at the moment we're just going on to the study. I kind of wanted this to be like quite a formal study, so you got like a sit down area and like a really nice desk, and I kind of decorated it like for a woman, so perhaps like the family who would be living in here, it would be the woman, like the mum, who would be like the boss lady perhaps. But yeah, so the pink walls, it's like a dusty pink. It kind of was inspired by my rose gold bedroom, and then we just kind of go on to doing like the twins bedroom. So it's quite a big family. I think later on maybe like the twins, they would potentially get a room each, and like maybe an extension would be done on the side or whatever. But yeah, so as I said before, I don't have like any like toddler packs or anything, so like the items that I put in my children's bedrooms are all like I think from the base game. So I suppose that is always handy for like people like who don't buy like stuff packs or whatever. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave this here. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And yeah, let me know down below anything that you may want to see in the future. And yeah, so I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.